What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate all the support. If this is your first time here, please do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe, turn the notifications on so when I release a video, you get instant access. So you saw the thumbnail, you saw the title, that's why you clicked on the video. Today, what I want to discuss is like when you are shifting from land wholesaling only to maybe you want to partner with builders. The main thing that you need to think about is the financing on the back end, right? So when you're paying cash for lots up front, or maybe going half with some JV partners and stuff like that, the most important thing is going to be not only your subcontractors and how you're getting uh, your materials and all that stuff done, but the financing, because excuse me, your lender is going to be your biggest partner. You may come in with 15% to maybe 20%, but they're going to come with the bulk load down on your deal and ultimately help you get your deal across the finish line. So I want to show you how lenders are quoting deals, right? What do they take into account um, in order to get you the correct terms? Liquidity wise, what do they expect and how to calculate that? And how they run your numbers, right? So this is why it's very important for you to understand your bill cost, to understand the area that you're in, to understand the comps that you're using to justify what you plan to sell your property. So the MRV, the marketable resale value, uh, understanding the appraisal process and why it's important for your budget to be as detailed as possible. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So I've gone over this before in previous videos, but here we go. This is pretty much, kind of what lenders use in order to quote you and get an idea of what your cash to close is going to be, if it's any. And so we're kind of obviously we have our interest rate. You have your monthly payment max. So this means when you're fully drawn. So we'll go ahead and put an example in there. So let's go ahead and just go to one website just for time's sake, guys. We're at Kiavi. They're a well-known lender. A lot of builders use them, investors, whatever. So here's their build up, ground up, new development. So it says rates as low as 9.45%. So this is probably going to be for expert builders. Um, you don't have to worry about the minimum loan amount, up to 85% of total cost, up to 70% of ARV, 24 months, up to rehab. Okay, cool. So pretty much what I look at that, what that tells me is we're going to go ahead and go back to the loan worksheet, and you can put this stuff together. This is what I love. Like when you're wholesaling land and you're getting putting quotes like this together, you can always highlight this, screenshot it, and send it with your deal. Like, hey, here's the land deal that I have. This is the price. It's not in a flood zone. The owner owns it. All those questions that I told you should be asking. Send this with that. I've gotten some terms from some lenders like Kiavi, Renovo, iFund Cities, Easy Street Capital, Lima One, and I believe this was the best in terms of rate, points, uh, LTC, LTV. This is what this is what your loan terms look like if you did this so and so project. So that's why I think it's really cool. So let's go ahead. Um, I know it said 9.45, but let's not do that. Let's go ahead and just put 10 and a quarter. And then it said 85 and 70. So we'll be at 85 and 70. And let's say for your project, um you're doing duplexes. Well, let's just say you're doing townhomes for short measure, right? So for here in Houston, I've seen townhomes go from anywhere from uh in terms of build cost, 110 a foot, 115 a foot. It just kind of depending on what your just what your finishes are, right? The quality of the quality of your finishes, the quartz countertops, your stainless steel glass appliances, all that. So let's go ahead and let's say we're building two 1,800 square foot townhomes, and it's going to cost us 115 a foot to build. So just go ahead for here in the construction budget equals 1,800 square feet times two times 115. So here we go. We had 414,000. Okay. So this is why you need to put the formula in there. So when you go back and look, how'd you come up with that number? Is I'm building 1,800 square feet, building two times 115. So that's how we come up with the 414,000. All right, so then you have most of the time builders are going to buy the lot cash. So that you're going to have the equity here as opposed to if you're doing a flip, you'll be in the purchase section, right? So equity, let's say you paid $90,000 for the lot. You paid 90 grand for the lot. And let's say you expect to sell those townhomes for 380,000 each. Okay, so now we have this stuff figured out. Let's go down to origination. So you're probably for terms like that, you'll probably be at, let's say 175 origination. So what's the last thing that we need to do is basically figure out the loan amount, right? So let's say the loan amount will go equals 70% of the resale. Okay, so we need to lower that by quite a bit because you see here we're over the capped amount, the LTC amount, right? So what we need to do is just go, you can kind of plug and play a little bit, like bring it to 500, okay, 450, getting closer. So let's go, okay, let's go. All right, that's close enough for time's sake. So here we are right here. So for this loan structure, based off of 10 and a quarter for the interest rate, 85% loan to cost, 70% loan to value, and 1.75 for the origination points, right? So when you're taking a look at this, you see the max monthly payment right here, 3,690. What this means is when you're fully drawn on your budget, whether it's a renovation budget or a construction budget, this is the payment that you're going to have to start making, the interest only payment. So typically, when you're looking at, the requirements to close, right? They're going to require you to have liquid 6 months. Matter of fact, I'll just show you. So right here, proof of funds recommended for liquidity. They recommend you to have $58,538. So they need to see that liquid. And that's going to comprise of, let's go ahead and take a look at the formula right here. So H43 is going to be your cash to close. So it's this is negative, right? So negative because you see the parentheses, so that's negative. So typically though, for example, let's just say it was positive 5,000. They're going to have you 5,000 plus 10%, see the 0.1 plus 10% of your construction budget plus 6 months of fully drawn interest. So 6 months of these plus 10% of this plus closing is what they're going to need to see liquid in order for you to get this loan, right? So you can see you bought the lot for 90,000. You're getting a construction loan, you're paying 153 bucks at like the following month at closing. At close, you're not coming to the closing table with anything because you're equity here. Now, let's say you wrap the land purchase into the loan, right? Let's say you wrap the land purchase into the loan. You would need to come to the closing table with close to 100K cash. And they would need to see, look at that, look at the amount. It jumps from, they would need to see all of that. So that's probably why most of the time builders, they pay cash for the lot. So that way when they come and get the construction, the loan for the construction, it doesn't cost them as much, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at our ROI. What's our ROI looking like? Now, when you see this initially, you start from the top, guys. Like just go straight down. Your interest rate, your max month. This is the max drawn monthly payment, the lender loan amount. And then you see here is 100%. They're not, it's over 100%. You see, like you're negative in the deal. So you're like, oh wow, cool. No, remember you paid cash for the lot, right? So and then you see down here your returns, they look it looks kind of crazy, right? So you need to think about you pay cash for the lot, right? So you need to go ahead and include that in your initial investments because that was an investment that you made, right? So pay cash for the lot, boom. Now this makes a little bit more sense. You're in it between 15 and 20%. The lenders like to see that. You got some skin in the game. Now your returns, I mean, they're still phenomenal returns, but let's go ahead and adjust. So let's say the length of project, let's say it's going to take you 5 months to put these up. Stretch it out a month. And let's say they sit on the market. Let's say they sit on the market for 5 months to put them up. They sit on the market for 90 days, right? So one, two, three, and they sell right here. Let's say they sell in month 9. They probably sell before then, but just like I said, for number's sake. So boom, month 9, they sold. This takes into account all your expenses before profit. So you see the resale estimated ARV 760 because we did the 330 or 430, whatever, times 2. The resale cost, so this is your real estate agent fees, both your listing agent and then the buyer's agent, right? The payoff loan amount for the lender, gross profit. Then it takes into account the monthly interest cost, the cumulative interest cost. So it takes into account everything. So when it's all said and done, you built it, you paid the realtors, you pay off the lender, all your miscellaneous fees, you're walking away with $167,200. Now you see how lucrative being a builder can be, right? I mean, you just made damn near $200,000 in less than 12 months with still 3 months left to go. So like this is why, like, you can start getting projects done as a whole when you're wholesaling land. I mean, you should be looking at this as a like an option to include, right? So while you're still banging on the phones wholesaling land, right? You're looking like you first off partner first. Partner with experienced builders, okay? Once you're able to kind of go out on your own, buy land, hire a GC, go over budgets and stuff with the GC, making sure you're keeping track of the material costs, keeping the receipts for materials, keeping the receipts for subcontractors that are paid out, going over all that stuff, and and you do a good project, you do a solid something similar to this, and this is really not, far-fetched. Like builders are paying around, some areas, they're paying about 90 to 100K or maybe 105 for a lot, 5,000 square foot lot. They're cutting it in half, putting up 2 packs. I've said this plenty of times in videos, like that's what I see a lot of. They're even doing some other stuff where they ordinances have changed here in Houston with the livable spaces. They can do courtyard style to where they can put up multiple units and they have a shared courtyard. It's a lot of stuff that you can do, but when you're as a land wholesaler, right, this is a great tool for you to have because you can, like I mentioned, you can highlight this and send, go 12 months and send to your builder based off of this loan with these numbers, building this product. This is kind of what I project. Um, this is kind of what I project is going to be. Your profit is going to be, this is what it'll look like. That separates you from the average person that's just sending them a deal and they don't know this stuff on the back end, right? So this is, like I said, this is a great tool to have. Um, and let's go here. Obviously, this is what's needed for you. They're going to need this. Lenders need it. We need this. Obviously, your settlement statement. If you pay cash for the lot, if you're wholesaling land and you got the property under contract, I need to see the contract. Your permits. You don't have to have the permits to close necessarily, but you do need to have the permits before you make your first draw to break ground. We need to see that. Your architectural plans and elevation with the general living area key, site key, right? Then your obviously your budget. This can be the construction budget or the renovation budget. Your experience docs. So the projects that you built and sold over the last few years, putting a resume together for whatever GC that you're hiring on the project. Also put your resume together too. So include a website, social media, list of, properties that they built, all that stuff, right? You know how to put a resume together. You can just do that in Word. Then obviously you're going to need your entity docs. So if you have a corporation or LLC, most have LLCs. So your certificate of formation, your IRS EIN number, your operating agreement. all that's going to be needed. And then obviously the bank statements, right? It could be both, a mix of both. It could be a business account, or it could be your personal, or it can be both. If you have retirement accounts, brokerage accounts, all that you can definitely use to meet the proof of funds and liquidity required. So, that's kind of what I have to show you here. Now, I want to kind of go over as well, when it comes to getting an appraisal order, right? How do you go about doing that? Because a lot of companies do require it, and I kind of want you, and you can order your own appraisals too. So, the lender's probably going to want to use their appraiser, but this is just, a form that, I mean, I would keep if I were you. So here's the engagement letter, right? So pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to put the addresses here, just one property, two, whatever, just put your addresses here. And then it's going to let you know what kind of appraisal, what type of appraisal do you want. So this says the sales comparison approach. The name says it all, sales comparison approach. Use the comps, essentially, is what they're saying. Use the recently sold comps to give me an appraisal on the property here. So when you go down here, it says the appraisal report shall include as is land appraisal. So what's the value of the land? And then the subject to construction appraisal. So that means subject to, because it's like you have vacant land and they're giving an appraisal on a house that's not built yet. So it's subject to this property being built. So based off of these architectural plans and elevations, plus this construction budget with the details and specifications, what do you think the value, like what do you think this house is going to be worth? So then your enclosures and stuff like that, like what are you going to include in the contract? So if you already bought the land, then it'll just be like we'll just put HUD for short, like HUD, like a settlement statement, right? And then your construction budget with details and specifications, your plans and elevations, and then your CAD, the CAD. So like every county has a CAD, right? So here's the HCAD. You would just go type the address, screenshot that, PDF it, send all these documents. You can zip file it or just include it in that email. So this is pretty much how you do the appraisal, right? So now let's go ahead and go to a construction budget, like what a blank budget looks like. So here we are, making sure we're on the construction budget. Okay, cool. So we're good. All right, so here we go. Here's the construction budget right here. This is a blank construction budget. So it's going to be comprised of your soft cost and your hard cost, right? That's just how it's going to go. Your number of draws requested, and the reason why this is important is because draws cost money. So some firms make $100, 125, 250. So it's important to know, like, how much your draws are. So if it's like you're requesting, all I need is 9 draws, and let's say a company is charging 150 a draw. So 1350 is going to cost you $1,350 total when you're doing your draws, right? So that's just something to have there. And obviously the number of bedrooms, baths, square footage, all that stuff, right? So here we go, soft costs, your permitting, your architectural, your MEP engineering. If you're dealing with the city planning and development department, there may be some legalities and stuff like that you may need to cover. Other planning, and then you have your management developer fee is in there. How much are you going to pay them? The general contractor fee is going to be included, and then the construction draws, what I just went over earlier. And then you have your hard costs, right? This is actually when you start building on the lot. So you're doing demolition. If there's a tear down on it, site work prep, you're bringing in dirt, leveling out the land and all that, ultimately laying the foundation, any other prep. Got your framing going, roofing, siding, fascia, soffit, exterior doors, garage, framing, all that stuff. Then you have your HVAC, electrical, plumbing, putting all that stuff in there. And obviously your windows, insulation, drywall, tile flooring, all that stuff is in here, right? And some of the stuff you're probably not going to have in there, like you might not have a fireplace or something like that in there. And then at the bottom, you're going to have your contingency. So like right here, it's a 5% contingency, but you can change this to 10%, 7, whatever you need to do, and it's going to be in here. So this is just if you go over budget, it's already built into the budget, right? So it's just a way to really help you out, honestly. So you see here it says details and specification. You need to be as detailed as possible when it comes to the quality, the brand of finishes and stuff that you're using. This needs to be filled out as detailed as possible because you have to think you're painting a picture for the appraiser, right? So the more information you give the appraiser, right, the better the comps he probably is going to use, the better the appraisal he's going to give you, right? If you leave this blank, he might compare your properties to some that's like it just matches square foot, bed and bath, but your finishes are totally different, right? And it might warrant a higher appraisal. That's why it's important. You have to paint the picture for him. If he's like, "Oh wow, you're going to be using you're going to be using quartz granite countertops." Okay, cool. As opposed to comparing your properties to something else, right? You're going to be using tile flooring compared to a property that may have wood flooring. It's so uh you have to be as detailed as possible. Like this is the thing where when you're building and stuff like that, a lot can go wrong, and you have to stay on top of this stuff. You have to stay on top of your GCs. You have to stay on top of your budget. You have to stay on top of your accounting. All that stuff matters. And lenders are going to do all this stuff up front for you to help you because, like I said, lenders are your biggest partner, right? So, um, in this video, like I said, I just wanted to kind of show you on the back end. This is how lenders are thinking. This is how they're pricing your deals based off of your experience and stuff like that. This is how you need to be thinking about your deals from the perspective of the lender because it's like if I wouldn't do this project, I wouldn't lend on the project, right? So that's how lenders, they're going to be comb through your deal. They're going to comb through your deal. They're going to not vet the deal itself and they're going to vet you. So when you're wholesaling land, as opposed to just wholesaling the land, like look at potential projects that you like that could be done on that lot. Because the more you equip yourself, the better off you're going to be down the line when you're actually ready to start doing your own projects, right? So that's pretty much all I have for you today. If you found this video helpful, please do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be going live a lot more, going to be releasing a lot of in-depth, practical videos about how you can be successful wholesaling land, how you can be successful in the private lending space, how you can be successful in starting your new construction journey. So with that being said, let's go close some deals.